Buenos dias, señoras y señores, and welcome to SoccerSanchez podcast. Another week where yours truly gets the pronunciation of footballer surnames completely wrong. As always, I'm joined by the one and only social media influencer, Stuart Sanchez, aka Stu Gets Goals 88. And as well, joining us for another week is D-Lord the Don, Chelsea fan and AC Milan enthusiast. And our special guest this week, friend of the show. It's been a while since he's been on here. Lay Petrelli. How are you, Lay?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Excellent. So today I wanted to talk through the Community Shield game between Arsenal and Liverpool, as well as going through some of the transfer talk that's been going on, as you can imagine, with the transfer window opening and the season starting soon. Going through some of the rumours and then confirmed transfers that have been in the news this week. So firstly, the Community Shields, obviously league champions Liverpool against FA Cup winners Arsenal. Arsenal, of course, won the FA Cup, less than a month ago due to the COVID lockdown. The FA Cup final was obviously played later than usual. The result finished 1-1 after 90 minutes. No extra time with the Community Shield, so it went straight to penalties. And Arsenal came out 5-4 winners, with Ryan Brewster being the unlucky kicker for Liverpool, having missed his penalty. It was an interesting game. Liverpool had the majority of possession of the ball. Arsenal seemed to be comfortable sitting back, waiting for the attack, and looking for those counter-attacking opportunities to kind of take advantage of Liverpool's high line. It was an interesting game. It wasn't a classic by any means, but it's a good win and another trophy for Arsenal, Lay. Are you happy with the performance, and what did you make of the game in general?
More than happy with the performance. The game. Well, as you clearly stated, and I agree, it wasn't like a showpiece event. It's hard, obviously, without the fans and stuff. But even the quality of the game, you could tell some players had reported late or were just coming back in from their holidays and stuff. So yeah, it wasn't the best game. In terms of, the result, obviously over the moon. But yeah, towards, I would say 20 minutes towards the end, you could tell Arsenal definitely would need some reinforcements. Liverpool's still a great team, and towards the end, Liverpool had the edge. So I'm glad it went to penalties and there wasn't extra time, because I figure Liverpool probably would have won it.
I think you're right. Liverpool, although they did have the majority of the ball for the game, things didn't seem to change for them much until Minamoto came on. Once he came on, I feel he actually turned out to be their best player of the match, starting creating opportunities, having a couple of chances himself, and obviously scoring with 15 minutes to go. What I do find interesting, and it has been brought up before, is how a lot of the talk when Arteta became Arsenal manager was the fact that he was a protege of Pep Guardiola. Now, Guardiola is obviously well known for his tiki-taka football at Barcelona. Man City don't play particularly that style so much. He's kind of got his own little system going at Man City. But it is interesting how towards the end of this Premier League season and during the game yesterday, Arsenal seem to be comfortable sitting back and waiting for those counter-attacking opportunities. Do you think that's something that Arteta's going to kind of instill as a tactic in general for Arsenal? Or do you think it's only against the bigger, more difficult, more trickier opposition that he will do that?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both, because I remember a few years ago, Arsenal beat Man City at the Etihad. Cazorla had the game of his life. And we only had about 40% of the ball, and I could tell they were like, "Oh, this is what Arsenal need to do in the big games." But we hear this all the time, years have passed and Wenger's left or whatever. The truth is, I can see Arteta employing these tactics in certain games, especially against a team like Liverpool. It will be suicide to try and go head to head against Liverpool. Even teams better than us, I wouldn't advise to do that in certain circumstances. So I think it's a mix of both. Arsenal, unfortunately, have always had attacking flair, but no tactical nous. Like, they don't really know when to sit back or how to defend or how to manage out games. So I think overall it's something we would see in general, regardless of the opposition, until, of course, Arsenal get the players Arteta really needs and we're at that level where the program is instilled, and then perhaps we can go a bit more toe-to-toe with these teams. But overall, I think it's a great tactic he employed, because Arsenal have been very, very careless over the years. So yeah.
One particular thing I actually wanted to mention was Emiliano Martinez. Now, he was given the opportunity as the starting goalkeeper for Arsenal. He's been at Arsenal for a few years now, maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe more. And I personally think he's taken his opportunity very well. However, I am hearing that Emiliano Martinez might be on his way out of Arsenal. Lay, where do you stand on Martinez? Do you think you guys should keep him, and could he ever challenge Leno for a top spot?
Yeah. I mean, Emmy's been with us for a while. I think over 10 years, actually. He's very patient, humble. He's been there since he was about 16. He's 27 now. He's been there. He's part of the furniture. Like, he knows the ins and outs of the club. If you think about it, 16-year-old from Argentina has been in England for that long. For me, the issue is, and first of all, I am very proud of him because he is like one of our own. It's good to see. I love Bernd Leno too, but overall, and I'm not trying to jump on the bandwagon, but I've always thought Emmy was a better keeper than Leno. Just because, he's been there for so long. He knows what we need. Leno is still a great goalkeeper, German international, maybe third choice now, perhaps behind Ter Stegen, Neuer. But I think Emmy is a great number 2, and if he got promoted, I would definitely back him. I just think Arsenal might have to make a decision. Maybe not this season, but I think in the future we should, as controversial as this may sound, sell Leno, invest the money in the squad, because, no offense, but Emmy's one of ours. And Leno is, but, Emmy's been there for 10 years. And there are very few players that have been at Arsenal for over 10 years now. So, some leadership and identity is what we need, and Emmy can easily carry on,
Okay, so you'd sell Leno to have Martinez as the number 1?
Not this season. I think it'd be foolish to do that this season because we're still in transition, and it would be nice to have 2 top goalkeepers. I don't think Emmy will leave this year. I think it's a bit of media talk or his agent trying to just push Arsenal a bit. It happens a lot. Even he knows, it would be foolish to move this year just because of where we are as a club. You don't leave Arsenal at this stage, you get sold. Right now, we have a great manager. We're actually moving in a direction, showing some grit. But yeah, moving forward in about a year, I would say Arsenal should look into selling Leno, promoting Martinez, and we have a young goalkeeper, Matt Macy, young English goalkeeper. I'm a big fan of English goalkeepers, or just keepers that have been at the club for longer. And, he can be that understudy. He's about 22, and I see it as a perfect scenario in the long term.
Let me ask you quickly about Maitland Niles. Now, there's a lot of talk of him actually leaving Arsenal as well.
Yeah.
Random talk about him going to Tottenham. I very much doubt that's going to happen. But he was actually, if I'm not mistaken, guys, he was man of the match yesterday.
Yes.
Where do you see Maitland Niles in terms of an Arsenal career? Should he stay? Should the club try and do as much as possible to keep him? And what's his best position?
Yeah, I've never wanted him to leave. I've always thought his best position was DM, or centre mid, rather. I think, and I can go on about this forever, but Wenger made a lot of mistakes. And one of them especially was Maitland Niles playing at fullback during such a terrible time for Arsenal. He played at left back, played at right back. That's why he's in this position he is in now. Wenger used to play loads of players out of position, but I digress, that time has passed. But I think his best position is centre mid. That said, he excels at fullback. And, even yesterday he started at centre mid, but drifted to the left a lot. He's got a perfect engine. I would just say I definitely want him to stay. From what I'm hearing, his last interview, apparently he's put the ball in Arsenal's hands. He's like, if they tell me I'm gone, I'm gone. And until then, I'm an Arsenal player. And that's what we want. We just want players that have been at the club that understand what it takes. In as much as he fell off a little bit, most young players do when there's no leadership, which is what we've lacked under Wenger and Emery. Albeit maybe not Emery's fault because he was cleaning up a mess. But now with Arteta, I would love to see Ainsley stay at Arsenal for years to come and, establish himself. Whether as a first teamer or not, football's a team game. You don't always have to be a starter, So I just want him at the club for sure.
Okay, it's interesting. I'm just looking at social media. It seems to be a mixed bag. Some people say keep him. Some people say sell him. I think you're right there as far as obviously I don't watch much of Arsenal youth, but when he was coming through, I was always aware of him as a central midfielder. And then when he came through the first team, he was obviously playing at fullback. So it is interesting how it kind of divides opinion amongst Arsenal fans. And whether he stays or not, it would, will be interesting to see. how that affects us, the Arsenal squad in general, and your the transfer dealings this summer. As we approach September. One thing that we didn't see from the game yesterday was the new signings. There were no new signings for Arsenal. I don't think Liverpool have signed anyone either. Correct me if I'm wrong. But arguably the major sign for Arsenal this transfer window has been Willian, the Brazilian winger. D-Lord, I'm sure you know a lot about Willian. Obviously, being a Chelsea fan and how he's been there the last few years, title winner as well. What can he offer Arsenal realistically at 32 years old? He signed a 3-year contract. He's here till he's 35. Maybe he's got one excellent year left in him if he still has that. What do you think he can give Arsenal, and do you think it was a good signing for them?
I think we need to respect the modern day footballer in the way they take good care, in terms of like diet wise, looking after themselves. We look at role models like Cristiano Ronaldo, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, in the late 30s, but they still, the physical aspect of those players are, like as if they're in their 20s, So players are really taking care of themselves now. So, they're having, longevity. In regards to Willian is off that ilk, he is off that, he's that player who is always had a good engine on him. He looks after himself well. He's still got that burst of speed. He might not be as quick as he was when he was in his 20s, but he still has that. He still has that in a short distance. He still has that. He's got a great technique. Arsenal have really got themselves a very, very good player. It'll be interesting to see if he can put up better numbers at Arsenal than he did at Chelsea. And one of the reasons I felt he wasn't able to put up those numbers because he was always played out of position. To me, Willian is either a number 10 or his best position is either number 10 or on the left wing. But unfortunately at Chelsea, he had, I won't say unfortunately because Hazard's amazing. Hazard was in that position. Hazard owned the left-hand side. So that's where you would probably get a very, very good Willian. Hazard was in that position, and then for Brazil, you got Neymar in that position. So he's always had to play, out of position on the right, where I don't really think it's his best position, but he's a winger. So, I mean, he can do a job, but I feel that you will get a better Willian when you play him on the inside where he can cut in because he's got a good shot on him, So if he's in the middle driving, at the defense, he's amazing at that, or he's cutting in from the left. But on the right, he just does the same old, he'll stop the play, kind of slow down the play, and then try and, shift down to the byline, then try and whip a crossing, a low crossing. And I feel he has more than that, Unfortunately, at Chelsea, he just had to play there because of the players that we had there. Me personally, if I was Arsenal, I would either play him, depending on what formation they're playing, I would either play him on the 10 or play him on the left because I feel that he will probably get a lot more goals playing there. Because at Chelsea, he never really, I don't think he's never hit double figures. Well, to be fair, in his career, he's never hit double figures. I've never understood it for Willian. For someone of that quality, and with the technique he has, he's got a great shot on him. He's got a great free kick. He can take free kicks. Corner kicks he's not good at. So I wouldn't put him on corners. He ain't beating the first man. I'll tell you that right now. So somebody else better take the corners. But in play, free kicks, mate, he's a specialist. Got a great shot on him. So, but it shocks me that when you look at his numbers, he's not. It doesn't add up. For someone of that caliber, he should be hitting at least 10 goals, at minimum 10 goals a season. He's never hit that. His best season, I think he got 8. And assists as well. He hasn't hit double figures. He's never hit double figures in assists, and he's never hit double figures in goals throughout the whole of his career.
So I think his game. Sorry to butt in, D-Lord. I think there's a lot more to his game than just scoring goals. I think if you look at the stats compared to Arsenal players last season, Willian topped the chart in terms of chances created, big chances created, penalty area entries, tackles completed. So you also have to like consider that.
No, I was getting to that. Like when you kind of analyze Willian's game, I mean, for me personally, I'm touching on that because that's, I feel like if he had those other attributes, added to his game, he will be spoken a lot more than he is. He'll be on a much higher pedestal. But like Stuart is right. Everything else, he gives you that. Engine-wise, he gives you that. Chances created, he gives you that. So and he can run for a whole 90 minutes without getting tired. If you can get that Willian, he's 32 now. I'm not gonna say he's past it or whatever, but I think coming to Arsenal is the best thing for his career. And I feel personally, if played you got Pepe on the right, so he's either got to play either as a 10 or on the left. I think personally he might get better numbers at Arsenal than he did at Chelsea.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it's interesting that you say that. Stuart, what do you make of Willian in general, and what impact can he make for Arsenal? Really, realistically,
I think he fits really well into Arsenal, especially right now with Arteta's new approach. In terms of his, kind of more defensive focus, I think Willian's one of the best players when it comes to, pressing and closing down players.
Yeah,
I think he'd be a really great addition and really fit into that new dynamic. I'll also be interested to see how they're going to mix, Pepe and Willian on the right. I mean, because he's a right-sided player, so is Pepe. But Pepe also drifts more into the middle when he's on the right, whereas Willian likes to hug the touchline a bit more and go to the byline and cross the ball. So I think it'd be a great signing because of the fact that he can really cross the ball very well and he goes right to the touchline. But also the fact that his pressing game is really, really good, and I think that fits really well with the way Arteta's playing right now. Because you saw the game yesterday, you saw that players like Oneni really press the ball quickly, and I think if Willian can also bring that to Arsenal's play next season. So I think he'll bring that kind of quality to the team.
What I'll just say is, I know you said that he's a right-sided player. I personally don't think he's a right-sided player. He's just had to do a job for Chelsea at that point. Like if you possibly ask Willian himself, he would tell you the left-hand side is my position or the number 10 is my position. Unfortunately, he's just had to do a job. But like you said, pressing-wise, you're going to get that from him. Energy, you're going to get that from him. Chances created, you're going to get that from him. The only other things that in his game that might frustrate Arsenal fans is one, like I said, corner kicks, don't have him on corners because he's not beating the first man. 2, he loses the ball a lot. There's going to be a lot of frustration. You're going to see him lose. People don't really see that because if you don't really watch Chelsea games, you probably just watch highlights and just see Willian. He's quality. He is quality. I'm not taking that away from him. But the amount of times he loses the ball, the amount of times he makes the wrong passes, it's going to be frustrating, and I just want Arsenal fans to realize that that's the kind of thing that will happen. So it's not like a shock to the system. They're thinking, we just got a washed-up player. Look at all the mistakes he made and blah blah. No, this has always been a part of his game. But then you can look at on the flip side is like he's trying things. He's trying. If you look at someone like Bruno Fernandes from Man United, the amount of times he loses the ball. But it's because it's the volume in it. It's how much things he's trying. But with Willian, he can get frustrating where he more often than not he makes the wrong passes. Like someone's in space, he wouldn't release the ball as quickly as he should, or he'll hold it for too long, and then he throws his arms in the air like, you should have been here, but the person was there, but you just didn't see him. But again, a lot of that was coming from the right-hand side. The few times he played in the middle, like, he was absolutely amazing. I remember one game against Manchester City where Mourinho played him inside, and he literally just tore the midfield to shreds. So if you play him as a 10, Pepe has to stay on the right. Keep Pepe on the right. If you play Willian, keep Pepe on the right. You got that left foot inverted winger on the right-hand side. You got Willian coming off the left-hand side, or as a number 10, and if you're going to keep Aubameyang up top, whatever you're going to do, as a 10 or as a left winger, you're probably going to see a dope Willian. If you remember the goal when Chelsea played Tottenham away, you remember his goal where he cut in? That's where you get Willian. Let him cut in and he hits a shot. Yeah. It's a wrap. So I'm quite surprised that we didn't play him a lot more inside to get shots up, because we don't really have a lot of people that can shoot like Willian, but we're playing him on the outside. So yeah, it's I think Arsenal got a good player there.
Lade, we're just going to finish up with this one. Is Willian going to be? Can Willian be a replacement to Ozil? He's kind of left a gap there in that number 10 role. Ozil, for some reason, isn't getting the games. Can Willian play in the middle? And if so, presuming Pepe on the right, Aubameyang up front, who's on the left-hand side?
Yeah, so I mean, I see. I mean, first of all, everyone, it's no secret, Ozil was my favorite player. Like, you know, just to get that out there. The reasons why he doesn't tear up pages, make the headlines at the back pages in England, technically is due to his style, also due to the nature of the Premier League, but his numbers never lie. I'm a big Ozil fan. I can't, but I definitely think with this new Arteta system, unfortunately, it's not really Ozil's game. He's more of a luxury player who I would always still rather have in my team than out of it because of the chances he can create. But as Dennis stated and Stuart also said, in terms of chances created, in terms of the engine, which is key in the Premier League, like Willian has that, and unfortunately, Ozil or most players, that need to play in that position don't. So, I think Willian can replace Ozil easily. I would like to state that the reason why, unfortunately, we're not going to see Ozil a lot more is not only due to fitness. It's more due to, do we want our Chinese fans to watch us play now? So, there's more than meets the eye, But that said, I'm very happy to have Willian at Arsenal. I'm happy Chelsea and Arsenal can actually do some business. It's a bit respectable, where it's a bit respectable. It's a bit classy. Like, you have players that have served you. I want to live in London. There's so much more to the equation. My children don't want to leave to another country. Yeah. So I respect it, and I'm happy to get, some of their players in, as much as they're not, young anymore. Even Chelsea, I'm sure they will tell you they would rather have Luis and maybe Willian to coach some of these youngsters for one season.
Yeah.
Leave, which is why they got Thiago, So
100%. Yeah. 100%. I think Lampard realized, I mean, not going branching up to Chelsea, but I think Lampard realized that the sale of Luis was a mistake, because I personally wouldn't have sold them. But I kind of understand the politics behind being, somebody that's always been, your teammate, and then all of a sudden now becomes your coach. It's a bit tricky, So, but yeah, in terms of going back to Ozil, Ozil is an old school number 10, and in the modern day game now, those type of number 10s, there's not really space for them anymore in the Premier League. If you ain't pressing, if you ain't got the engine on you, you can't just, everybody needs to be, you can see how Liverpool have shown, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, everybody has an engine, there's no luxury player, everybody has to work. And it's gone are the days of having the Raquelmes, the Ozils, those number 10s where you could just build around them and they can just kind of do what they want, Maybe Lionel Messi will probably be like the only one that's allowed to kind of get away with that. And, Barca, you can see as they suffer, quite a bit because of that. So everybody has to be on point. So that's why you probably won't see Ozil play a lot of games for Arsenal.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a shame that you're not going to see, I think, the likes of Zidane, the kind of Zidanes of this world playing in teams at the moment. Yeah. That's the nature of football nowadays. It's just it's just end to end. There isn't that kind of like patience to watch a player like Zidane's quality to passing the ball, run. And I mean, it's just the nature of football and how it's evolved. But it's just a shame that you're not going to see like that.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, it'll come back full circle though. It always does. Like I remember Barcelona. There was a time we thought this was it. Like or Spain, like this is it. Like it will come in cycles. It just. It just hurts me that one of my favorite players came to my league And, it's just not been what I thought it would be. But, he's won a few trophies. We know internationally his record stands. But, yeah, football has definitely changed. So.
No, it's a pity. Ozil's career has kind of petered out the last couple of years. Where he goes next, who knows? A lot of talk about Galatasaray, Fenerbahce. I can't remember that. Probably, possibly a move to the Turkish league. But we'll wait and see.
He'd have to take a massive hit in his wages, though, because right now he earns how much? What, 350,000 a week? Yeah. There's no way in hell that.
Well, that's why he's still there, isn't it? so yeah. I mean, we'll wait and see what happens to Ozil, but it is a pity how his career has kind of gone the last couple of years. But so be it, and it'll be interesting to see what Arteta does this season, and whether he continues on with this particular tactic, and then what Willian can do for the Arsenal team.
Just one thing, sorry, I just wanted to say, it's not over in terms of your work ethic, though. The game against Man United also had the highest numbers in terms of distance covered, So it's not over. I think it's more political than
possibly, yeah.
If you know what I mean. So it's that for me is the biggest shame, because he can still do a job, but numbers wise, it doesn't make sense commercially playing him right now. So.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens there then. So moving on then. The season finished 7 days ago, and now we're talking about the new season. The transfer window, I believe, is extended till the first week of October. Is that correct?
October, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got another month left of transfer dealings. So another month of paper talk, Twitter arguments, and all the good stuff that you get from the transfer window. I don't want to go too in depth with all the transfers that have happened. I mean, I want to speak about it more in depth when we do a Premier League preview at some point before the season starts. But looking at the EFL, arguably they're one of the most talented players. Ebereche Eze, I believe his name is.
Eze. Spot on, mate.
Eze.
There you go.
Eze.
Pardon my French. Yeah. Very talented player. I'm actually very happy that he's moved from QPR to Crystal Palace. I think Crystal Palace is an excellent club for him to begin his Premier League career. Only 22 years old. He's costing Crystal Palace a fee in the region of £17 million. From his stats, he's made 46 appearances for QPR with 14 goals and 8 assists. A very tricky player, can play anywhere along the front three. Our EFL expert Stuart is going to tell us more about him. What do you think of Eze? Do you think he can make an impact in the Premier League, and do you see him starting for Crystal Palace?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see him starting. I mean, yesterday's friendly against Charlton. I mean, Charlton is obviously not Premier League opposition, but you can see the kind of style they'll be playing in the Premier League next season. I think what Roy Hodgson will be doing is putting Eze in the kind of Ruben Loftus-Cheek position, and running in from midfield through the middle, just like he did in the Championship for QPR. And I saw him up close against Brentford last season, and he was one of the trickiest player that QPR had. The only thing that I would say is his finishing wasn't great, but he still had good stats last season. But I think the finishing part definitely needs some work. And I think Roy Hodgson there's been a lot of critics saying that he needs to play more expansive football as opposed to his more kind of defensive, pragmatic approach. So I think definitely having Eze is going to add a different dimension to their team. And it might complement well with Zaha as well. So I think now there's less of an excuse for Roy Hodgson to play that defensive game. And he'll have to go use Eze's skills now in terms of his dribbling ability, his deep runs. So yeah, I think he'll definitely be starting. There's no reason why he wouldn't be. I don't know who else they have in their team that can play Eze's game. So as I said to you, I think having the same kind of approach with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, with the way Palace had it with him last few years ago, will be the same way that they play Eze. And you saw that against Charlton yesterday. So yeah, definitely I see him as a great signing.
Where do you think his best position is, and where do you think he'll play that position at Palace?
Yes, I think it's going to be in the left side of the midfield, because I think they play with two up front, Zaha and Jordan Ayew. So I think having Eze in the left of that four-man midfield, I think that's where he played yesterday, and he's very effective. And post-match comments from Hodgson were really great and very positive of Eze's impact in the game. So I think perhaps having him on the left side of the midfield will be the way he goes about it. So So I think that's where he'd be most effective. Making those runs, into the middle of the park and in behind the two strikers will be where his game is at.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Now, D-Lord, as a tricky player, very fast, creative, as Stuart's mentioned there. There are rumours, although very low-key rumours, that Eze's been brought in because Zaha could potentially be leaving. Do you think this is an indication that Palace will be willing to listen to offers for Zaha? And if he does go, where do you think he will go?
Well, the rumours were, Zaha to Arsenal, which has been banded for a long time. The only thing is, with the, Arsenal purchasing Willian, I don't know how that's going to work. I can't see Willian sitting on the bench because it certainly wasn't going to sit on the bench at Chelsea. So I don't know where Zaha could go, because I think the thing that was hindering Zaha a lot was the deal the United deal, that 15%, I don't know why his agent would have even agreed to that term, because that puts Palace in a position where they have to make some money.
Just explain what that was, please.
Huh?
Just explain what that was, that clause.
I think it's a selling clause, about 15% selling clause, which is why which Man United inserted in that deal. So if Zaha was to move on, Man United get 15% of whatever the sell-on fee, and so Palace, in order to kind of make some money from their star player, they're going to have to try and sell him for astronomical prices, which is why, 18 mil was being banded, about 85 mil, and Arsenal, they're not going to, pay that. Well, it's shocking because they actually paid that 72 for Pepe, who's,
It's more likely,
yeah.
Palace.
But Palace actually wanted that money because I don't think they could, deal with installments, because they would need to replace a player of that magnitude. That's a big loss for them. So that deal kind of hindered Zaha, because there's not a lot of places to go apart from maybe abroad. If you look at the Prem, where can you really see him going? Chelsea's full. There were rumors that we're looking at him, but that's full now. Arsenal, that's full now. Spurs, I don't know. They got Bergwijn. They got Son. They got Moura. I can't really see him, going to any other Premier League team.
Does he? He's obviously he plays for Ivory Coast internationally, but does he count as a homegrown player? I think he does, doesn't he?
I think he does count as a homegrown player. I think he does. He does count as a homegrown player. So
because Spurs are looking for homegrown player, I doubt very much they'll be buying many foreign players, and I think that's why you saw Joe Hart and obviously Doherty signing for Spurs recently. If any of those teams that you mentioned, if he goes anywhere, it might be Tottenham, but even then, I can't see Spurs spending any more than 40-50 million on him.
He could go to Tottenham. I would say Tottenham or Liverpool, because I can see at something.
He won't go to Liverpool. He hasn't got that.
Discipline.
Liverpool are very aggressive. Not discipline. He has got discipline, but Liverpool plays very aggressive. That's not his game.
He'll be a squad player. I easily see him being like a Fury, easily.
Nah, he's at the stage of his career. A talent like Zaha can't be a squad player. He has to be a starter. So we're looking at maybe Tottenham. But I think Palace have realized now. You know what? That they're not gonna get the money that they want from him. So they're probably going to take, if they're going to sell him, they're probably going to, have to sell him lower than what they were quoting, teams like Arsenal in the 80 mil region. So they're not going to get that. And that's what's kind of hindered his career, because it's such a shame, because you really want to see him at the next level. He's done everything for Palace, he's he's the one man that's kept them up. But on the flip side, if he kind of accepts that, I don't think I'm going to go anywhere apart from abroad, I think the introduction of Eze would help alleviate all the burden on Zaha, because it's when you play Palace, that's the danger, man. If you can mark Zaha out of the game, you've got Palace. But now you got another person to worry about. So you got Eze and Zaha, and I actually saw the goal that they scored, that Zaha scored in the preseason was against Charlton, and the link up between those two was just something beautiful to behold. So if Hodgson can keep both of them at the club, I think Palace will be good. I don't think they will get relegated, even though they keep flirting with relegation. I think with the introduction of Eze would help. But in terms of seeing Zaha move, if it's not Tottenham or if it's not another team abroad, I can't see where he's going.
AC Milan. That'd be good.
That would be great.
That'd be good.
That'll be interesting. I'd love to see him in Serie A. I think he'd absolutely tear it up if he did go to Italy.
Yeah, cool.
A report from Globo Esporte came out in Brazil suggesting that Gabriel Jesus could be the man to replace Luis Suarez. Now, Ronald Koeman, as we know, has come in as a new manager of Barcelona. Do we first of all, do we think that getting rid of Luis Suarez is a good idea? I'm going to put this first to Stuart. Is getting rid of Luis Suarez a good idea? Just answer me that one first.
Well, it depends what Koeman's doing. If he's doing, get rid of the old, bring in the new, then maybe that is a good idea. But you have to also remember that although Suarez is like 33 years old now, he still scored 21 goals last season, so that's not to be frowned upon. And he's still that very sparky, live wire player in the front three. But when Koeman again, he might want to have break from old and just kind of bring in a new breath of fresh air. So that's where Gabriel Jesus might come in. And I see Gabriel Jesus as well as having a similar kind of playing style to Suarez in that he can play anywhere in the front three. So it could be a good thing. And Gabriel Jesus is only 23 years old, and his first season was amazing at City. I think in the last few seasons his goal scoring hasn't been up there as it was in the first season. So perhaps that's something that might be weighing upon Koeman's mind. But I mean, I think he'd be a great signing. I think at Barcelona. And Suarez is 33 years old at the end of the day, so at some point he'd have to leave. But
should he leave now?
Huh?
Should he leave now, or should they keep hold of him?
I think Barcelona want to get rid of him, right? And they're willing to pay, I think, £12 million to make him leave. But Suarez, if Suarez gets the hint, is understanding the new kind of environment at Barcelona, maybe he's kind of getting the message that he's no longer wanted. And apparently that's what Koeman communicated to him. Apparently he wasn't very happy with the way he was told to leave. He was told via conversation over the phone that Koeman no longer wants him there. So yeah, perhaps that might also have really upset him as well. So I think it's probably time now. I think Barcelona's days of their glory days are long gone now. With the likes of of Iniesta, Xavi having left, and now with Messi also looking at it looks kind of likely now he could be leaving, or he could be leaving. I don't know. Apparently the clause now is not effective. They've ruled that he has that whoever wants to buy him has to pay the £700 million clause. That might keep him tied at Barcelona, but who knows? Do Barcelona want to keep a player that's going to be unhappy and not want to play there? It's always a tough one for clubs that keep a player, but even there and make him play in an environment where he's not happy in, or do they cash in? Perhaps it's time to cash in, but obviously I don't think there'll be anyone in the world that's going to pay £700 million for him. They'll probably have to reduce that figure by a lot. So yeah, but in terms of Suarez leaving, I think perhaps it's time to move on. He's been there for a good 5 years now. So and he's also been linked with a move to Liverpool. But I don't know if Suarez would want to go there and play second fiddle to likes of Mane and Salah.
Yeah, no.
I doubt that's going to happen. Lay, we've spoken about, me and you personally, about Gabriel Jesus for like 6-7 years now. I remember when I first told you about him when he was playing at the under 18 World Cup, 6-7 years ago now. And he was a brilliant asset for Palmeiras when he was playing in Brazil. Obviously a standout player there, arguably the next big player after Neymar playing in Brazil. I was very surprised that he ended up in England. A lot of young South American players don't normally come to the Premier League, but he came. He done his thing. Last season, he's had the most minutes that he's ever had at Man City, mostly due to the fact that Aguero was injured. Bye.